Hey, what's going on, y'all? Eric Moultrie here with Code Red Conversations. Thanks for joining me today. I know it's been a while. Don't shoot me. But I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to jump right into the content. Hope everybody's doing good. Hope everyone's having a pretty decent day. Let me know how the audio sounds. I have a different setup going on here, audio-wise, and I'm hoping I'm not coming across as being too loud or anything like that. So let me know either way. But again, I hope everyone's doing good. And we're going to jump right into the content today. Here we're going to be talking, today's topic, we're going to be talking about the incident, the Brooklyn subway shooting, and what we know now, as opposed to what the media may be sharing with us, and what lessons can we learn? What lessons can be learned from this entire situation? It's this one is going to be a little bit of a struggle here because you're in such a confined spot, but I'm going to save that to the end of the show. But let's jump into our video, our first video, and as we talk about what we know so far. If anyone's in the comments, let me know how you sound. Oh, and one more thing. If anyone who's listening wants to jump in, feel free. Just let me know, and I'll send you a link, and we can jump in and have a conversation. But I want it to be a good one. All right, I think this is it. Right here. We'll share this video first as we dive into this conversation here. We will share this one. This will be the first one we share, where we go into a little bit of the details. Because if you haven't heard already, maybe you've just been busy as your day has gone on, but Frank James, the suspect, has been caught. He has been caught. So I'll just share this video right here as we go and let them talk as we go into a few of the details.
Yesterday's subway attack.
Let me know how everything sounds.
Captured by the NYPD in the East Village at 1:42 p.m. today after a more than 24-hour manhunt across the city and far and beyond that. He was arrested at First Avenue in St. Mark's Place without incident. Police just told us he is now facing federal charges for a terrorist attack on mass transit, and they acted on Crime Stoppers tips to eventually track him down.
So they are actually going to charge him with terrorism or some type of terrorism-related crime as a terrorism-related offender. So, which is a good thing. And I think as time goes on, and I'll share some of his rhetoric that he had on his social media page, more and more details will come out. Now, I don't know how much of this will come out in the mainstream media, because if anyone's following me is even remotely familiar with Code Red Conversations, you know how I feel about the mainstream media. I feel as if they have a clear agenda and they're trying to promote a certain mindset, mentality, a certain political view, which happens to fall in line with one particular political party, mainly the Democrats. So, but let's let the video flow, and hopefully they'll be open and honest. I'm not gonna hold my breath though, with who this man was and what he stood for.
This afternoon, although his motive is still unclear, they do have a lot more evidence thanks to his social media post and from what they're hearing, talking to witnesses who are...
Yeah, his social media page, man, I'm drawing a blank on it right now, the name of it. Hopefully it'll come up. It should come up, but yeah, the dude's a mess. Very much a black nationalist, he posts a lot of content that is anti-white, So the typical BLM type nonsense that we hear these days.
On that train yesterday when 10 people were shot and 13 more were injured. This video right here is of the arrest in the East Village right there on First Avenue, where you can see Frank James was brought into custody and taken to the 9th Precinct by NYPD patrol officers. We also learned a little bit more from Keyshawn Sewell, the commissioner, about how this all unfolded for the last 24 hours, tracking him to an F train after he exited the R train at 25th Street in Brooklyn to the 7th Avenue Park.
Okay, I just got to pause right there. Jeremy Webb, I'm about to block you. Let me just put it up so y'all know what I'm talking about here. My man is tripping, but it's hilarious. Manhunt. Why are we assuming his gender? Maybe it was a non-binary hunt. You transphobe. Too good, bro. Too good. You're already starting off with a bang. I appreciate it, though. I definitely appreciate it. I'm going to leave this one up here for a second as the video progresses, because that's just too good. I wish I had a prize to give you, bro.
Slope F train at 9:15 yesterday morning. So as we get all this information in, there's a whole lot more to uncover. Let's go to News 4 Chief Investigative Reporter Jonathan Dienst in the newsroom with what he's learned. Jonathan.
Well, first, we have to take note of the mayor. His first words, "We got him." That announcement coming at the top of this news conference with the official word that the suspect had been caught. Literally moments after his arrest, word quickly spread that Mr. James was caught and was in custody and was taken to the 9th Precinct, where he's being questioned at this hour. A key break came when the ATF was able to track that weapon to a 2011 purchase in Ohio, in Columbus, Ohio.
Now, what gets me is that he was able to make a purchase with his extensive criminal record. I shouldn't say it boggles my mind, because the system, they want to put more and more laws in place, even though they rarely ever are consistent in enforcing the current laws that are already in place. But this man has an extensive criminal history. I think they said dating back to 92. It was somewhere in early mid-90s. And yeah, it shows the flaws in the system. But of course, certain political pundits will use this as another means. And the mayor of New York was already talking about it. If I'm not mistaken, yesterday, he definitely spoke on it today. We'll show a little bit of that, where he's talking about gun control, gun control, gun control. In a city that has some of the strictest gun control laws in the nation, New York, and you're still promoting this idea that it's all about gun control. No, man, that ain't it. If people were on that I'm going to hold that thought until later on in the show. But all these gun control advocates, man, they're so obsessed with guns, like keeping good people from having guns. Here's a man right here, not a good person, who should not have been in possession of a gun, and the current laws in place failed because someone most likely failed to enforce them. That's it. But let's proceed.
And the purchaser of that gun is the suspect, and that's when they knew he went from being a person of interest to being a suspect, and they all-out manhunt to find him. And it was a Crime Stoppers tip, along with a tweet today, we're told, that led to police to that East Village location, into a McDonald's where he was spotted. And then by the time police arrived there, the chief of department saying he had already moved on, but a canvassing of the neighborhood tracked him down. There is some question now as to whether he called the Crime Stoppers tip himself to sort of lead police to his location.
Oh, wow.
That is being looked into. The police commissioner was asked about that at the press conference. She said that is still under investigation in terms of who actually called the Crime Stoppers tip.
Now, that's really weird. Maybe he was tired of running, even though it was only 24 hours. Maybe he just wanted to turn himself in. Who knows? Maybe he had regret. He could have been under the influence of some substance when he did the shooting. Who knows? Or maybe he wasn't the one who called in. But yeah, that's really weird. Typically when people do that, I've seen it happen before. throughout my career where people have called and they basically turn themselves in, or they turn themselves into a police station or the local jail. Or I've seen it where people say, hey, he might be in this location, and the police arrive, and next thing you know, they're in a gun battle. So I'm very interested in what all went down regarding who made the call.
But nonetheless, the suspect, Frank Robert James, stopped in the East Village at 1:42 this afternoon. They believe he is the man who went onto that train wearing the orange vest that you see there, the construction helmet, swiping the Metro card. 8 stops away from where the shooting happened. He boarded the N train and then opened fire. They answered the question on how he got away after the shooting. They say he was among the crowd that ran across the platform to the waiting R train and took that train one stop to get away. And then he was later swiping himself back into the subway at a Park Slope subway station. So he was back on the trains riding the subways after yesterday's attack.
So he definitely knew what he was doing. And with all the smoke, and I'm not sure if he actually set off any fireworks or not, but with all the gunfire and the smoke, I'm sure there was total panic, total confusion. No one knew what was going on. So he was able to just slip out, in and out with no problem until later on, as time went on, maybe more people were able to ultimately identify him. But at that moment, there was so much panic, and when the cops arrived, I'm sure they didn't know what was going on. They're trying to ask questions and try to find surveillance video. Again, you hear the videos wasn't working. So I can understand why he was able to get in and out with no problem at that moment.
That's happened at around 8:24 a.m. That all according to police. Again, it was FBI, ATF, joining the NYPD along with the U.S. Marshals and Homeland Security investigators, all teaming up, hundreds and hundreds of investigators working this case, trying to find him. And the break coming this afternoon when he was spotted and tipsters alerted that he appeared to be in the area of St. Mark's Place and First Avenue near a McDonald's, and police converged on the scene. And as you see there, he was put in handcuffs, taken into custody. Too early to know if he's making any statements, if he's cooperating. We know he's in the 9th precinct at this hour. The U.S. Attorney, Breon Peace, announcing that he will face federal charges for carrying out a terrorist attack against mass transit. That is the federal charge, which, if convicted, he could face up to life in prison. They say he traveled across state lines. Part of that we've been reporting all along, that he allegedly rented that U-Haul van out of Philadelphia after obtaining that gun in Ohio years ago, after obtaining fireworks in Wisconsin a while back, and driving from Philadelphia, where he got that U-Haul van, to New York. He apparently was sleeping in that van overnight and then boarded the subway in the early morning hours to allegedly carry out the attack on the subway. And again, he was armed with a knife.
I'm going to back up real quick because I think they said he was armed with a knife. I'm not sure. But just look at what he's got on. I mean, typically if you see someone dressed like that, you're going to assume that he must be some type of worker. So he's not going to draw a whole lot of attention. And then with the masks, everyone, well, not everyone, a lot of people still wear masks. So, and I don't even know what the rules are in New York in the subway. I think when I saw some video footage yesterday, people leaving the subway train, everyone, or the vast majority of people, were wearing masks. So I'm assuming that with the goofiness that has went on in New York over the last year or so, almost 2 years, that people still have to wear masks, I'm thinking. So you're able to slip in and out. Again, this man knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing, and man, he got away with a lot, thankfully. Unless I don't have all my information, but as far as I know, no one died. I wasn't able to hear any newer details about the safety, the health of the individuals. I know there are a few people who are in critical but stable condition. I don't know if that's changed. So if it has, and you're aware of it, put that comment in the chat. I'd appreciate it. And I'll address it.
9mm, fired 33 shots on that train, set off at least 2 smoke bombs, according to police. And inside his bag were additional smoke bombs, fireworks, gasoline, other rounds of ammo. So the question investigators have is, was that the target where he carried out that attack? Or they spoke to that witness who said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Oops," as if he accidentally set off the device and then pulled out the gun and started shooting. So the question is, was that subway train and subway line the intended target, or it's a line that goes into Manhattan? And did they have other ideas, other sites? That clearly part of the investigation, which is very much ongoing. Adam?
Yeah, still a lot to unfold here. Jonathan Dienst, great job with your reporting. And
yeah, a lot to unfold, no question. No doubt there's a lot to unfold. This is just wild, y'all. I mean, but at the same time, it shouldn't be shocking because, man, this is the world we're living in, unfortunately. There's a lot of people out here with radical ideologies. Despite what you may be hearing from the mainstream, the more I would believe, I'm under the impression that those who are lean more left are more prone to it. And here's why. Let me explain why I believe that to be the case. Look at what goes on. Just a few days ago, what's the guy? Colonel Allen West was attempting to speak at a college, and these people got all enraged or protesting to the point to where he had to be escorted out by the police. And time again, when conservative speakers, and I'm talking about people who just hold to values and views that 10 years ago wouldn't even have been questionable, wouldn't even have been alarming to anybody or to very few people. Now these people are feeling emboldened to the point to where they can lash out and they can attack. 2020 was a prime example of the foolishness that has spread throughout our society in recent years. And if you ask me, first and foremost, it goes back to a godless society, a culture that's growing increasingly secular. I think that's at its foundation, that's our biggest issue. But I think if you tie in the anti-bullying campaign, this radical LGBT push, various philosophical positions like, what is the, I'm just drawing blanks left and right. Not secular, like moral relativism. When you put in views that espouse that there is no truth or truth is relative to the individual, you're going to get this kind of nonsense. You're going to get people who instead of being prepared to have a dialogue, to have a discussion about what it is that they believe, their response is to lash out and to attack and to whine and cry and get emotional. As a postmodern, Dwayne, thank you, brother. Thank you. That postmodernism, that worldview, that perspective has done so much damage to our modern culture. And just as a quick aside, I was watching some show, and I think it was talking about Gold Star families that have lost might have lost a loved one during the war on terror, in particularly. And they were talking about how there are a lot of they have programs where they put these kids through college, the children of these veterans, these veterans who died in the war. They put them through college. And there's a part of me that thinks that that's a good thing, but there's a stronger part of me that is like, to what end? Because we see right now this postmodern perspective, this moral relativistic worldview, this secularization of our society has a foothold on academia, on modern academia, complete and total foothold. So what we're going to do is we're going to make it easier for our young people to go to these places that are teaching them to hate our God, teaching them to hate us, teaching them that every white person is inherently racist, teaching them that our country is probably one of the most evil entities, evil governments that has ever existed. It's insane. It's totally nuts. And so if I haven't made it clear, I'm not a fan of the academic college these days. I think if you are going to send your kids off to college, especially as a believer or as a conservative, I think you had better make sure that they are prepared for the onslaught that they are going to receive. They better be solid in what they believe and why they believe it, and be strong enough to not be pushed around by peer pressure, because that mentality has created what we're seeing. Now, granted, this guy is in his 60s. He's not a kid, obviously, but the inroads that this mindset has been ingrained in the black community for decades. Previously, like 50s, 60s, this mindset, this very much a socialistic, communistic mindset that the white man, that the white man is the total enemy. And if you don't know that's how he was thinking or how he felt, my next clip is going to break it down. Let me scroll back and see what some of the comments that were made so far. I appreciate y'all jumping in and joining me today for this conversation. Yet we have hundreds of thousands coming into this most evil, racist, vile, oppressive country in the world, right? Yes. And those same people who hate our country the most, those radical leftists, are the ones who are saying, open the border, let these people in. Why do you want these people to come into a country that's so terrible, that is so oppressive? Why? Why would you want people to come in? It makes no sense at all. None whatsoever. Appreciate that, Dwayne. Hey, what's up, brother? Appreciate you. Dallas PD killing. Yes, the Dallas PD shooter. He was a black nationalist, one of many, and it is often overlooked. And wasn't the guy who ran over that parade in was it in Washington just a few months back? Wasn't he pretty much the same? Had the same mindset, like that black nationalist mindset? Crazy. Let's scroll back here a little bit, see what some of the other comments here, y'all. And then we're going to get into the next video. If you don't know some of the foolish rhetoric that this guy was espousing, please stay tuned, because this stuff only gets better or worse. What's going on, y'all? I want to make sure I say hey to everybody. Jesus loves you. I appreciate you jumping in. Dwayne, Benjamin, everyone else who's on board, who's not in the chat. If this is the first time you're jumping in or not, or if you're just a faithful listener, I appreciate you. Just toss a comment in the chat. Let me know who you are, just so I can say hey, because I see we got close to 20 people joining us, and I definitely appreciate that. Let me see right here. What you get? Looks like a good one here, Dwayne. All right. But bro, we need more gun control, because the founding fathers didn't want you to buy cannons. So even though you could own a boat with cannons, and AR-15 stand for assault. Right. All the typical nonsense, man. And I'm also under the impression that the subway systems, well, I mean, it's New York, so everywhere is a gun-free zone. Gun-free zone. But I'm under the impression that it's supposed to be a gun-free zone. How is it that someone was able to get it? I'm being sarcastic if you don't already know that. But these people, And I know the argument, a lot of these folks will say, uh-oh. I know the argument will be that, well, they get their guns from these cities and states nearby. Well, man, you're talking about a lot of that tri-state area. Man, a lot of these people have, a lot of these cities and states have some of the toughest gun laws in the country. And I'm sure that where there's a will, there's a way. But I'm sure as time goes on, we're going to see the cracks in the system where the system failed, as always. Imagine if someone was carrying concealed. Yes, or someone's. But we're going to get into that. We're definitely going to get into that. That's going to make for the main end of my thoughts. Because I want to share my thoughts and how to, I'm going to share my thoughts on how to how we should respond if we're ever in a similar situation. Because this one is tough. This one is a challenge right here, but there are a few things that you and I can do if we find ourselves in a position like this. What can you do to minimize the injuries, the risks, the risk of you dying? A couple of points I want to make before we roll out. Good one, Dwayne, though. The Beltway sniper, again, radicalized. What's up, Tanisha? Hey, say hi to the hubby and that little baby of yours. Cutest little kid. Let me see here. What you got here, bro? All black supremacists. Yes, it's the reality. People don't want to talk about these issues, but it's just the reality. If we want to be truth bearers, we have to address these uncomfortable talking points. It's just the reality. I don't get a kick out of talking about the high crime rate and these ridiculous issues that are plaguing the black community. I don't enjoy it. But as a follower of Jesus Christ, first and foremost, I'm compelled to be honest and truthful. I stand here as a Christian representing the one who is truth. That's who I represent. So just because something is unpopular doesn't mean that I get an opportunity to walk around it. No, I don't. And I'm thankful for a lot of the folks here on social media, a lot of my social media friends who were able to share content, share information with me over the years that this really opened my eyes to a world of information and data that helped me come to a more balanced understanding when it comes to some of these crazy issues. But let me go ahead and read what my man Benjamin Michael posted here. It's interesting that these types of attacks seem to be increasing, yet are hardly covered by the mainstream media. Very true, bro. Or if they are covered, the radical mindset of the individual is rarely touched upon. Can we all agree that any racial supremacist view is concerning and has huge tendencies for violence? Yeah, concerning is putting it mildly, but I know what you mean. All should be covered as detestable views equally. But yet we backtrack, and I agree 100%, bro. And I'm not saying like or going against you. But if we backtrack to 2020 and we see how this radical response to the George Floyd killing, how that was just totally swept under the rug, ignored, and justified by many in the media, many in Hollywood, many athletes, many politicians on the left, Democrats. They were the ones who were caught when Trump tried to send in some federal agents, calling them shock troopers, and saying that, and trying to focus on the quote unquote allegations of police brutality. And Kamala Harris even saying that they shouldn't stop. And all these people saying that these folks were justified. That year alone should tell us all that we need to know about our current state, the current culture. But now, all of these knuckleheads are trying to backtrack. They were espousing and promoting defunding and abolishing the police. But now that they see the fruit of that worldview, of that mindset, and they see the death toll skyrocketing, they see the robbing and the killing. I saw a video that I plan on talking about here today or later on today, tomorrow most likely, where all these attacks on people, on the rich, that are taking place in LA, broad daylight. A woman was ran over, followed as she left, I believe it was a high-end restaurant, followed as she left the restaurant, chased down. She tried to run. These people in there ran this woman over and took her jewelry and her money. These people have been emboldened by our current culture. They have been emboldened by it. And these individuals who have put these individuals who were promoting this whole abolishing and defunding the police, they need to be held accountable. But you know what? They probably never will. That's a sad state. That's a sad reality. They will probably never be held accountable for their ridiculous mindset. They're the ones to blame for all of the violence and nonsense that we're dealing with in our society today. And it's happening all over the country, and primarily in left-leaning cities. You don't like it? Don't be pissed off at me. Talk to the politicians and those people out there who are supporting these clowns. Oh, and Louisville mayoral candidate attempted assassination. That one's very recent as well. You know what? I'm not familiar with that one, man. If you could do me a favor, bro, and post a link in the comments, that would be really cool, because I want to take a look at that. Or you can send it to me later on when you get a chance. What you got here? Agreed. All extremist criminals, regardless of ethnicity, are a concern in context to domestic terrorism. Absolutely. Absolutely. They should be called out, every one of them, regardless of what they look like, regardless of their shade. It's even gotten so, this is how bad it has gotten. I saw a clip of a conversation, like a little mini documentary. I think it's somewhere in maybe San Francisco. I'm really not sure. Don't quote me on the location. But it was talking about the rise in Black on Asian violence that has plagued a lot of these liberal cities, which is pretty much has been the primary locations. And I think the broadcaster was an Asian woman, and she was basically trying to place the blame on Asians as far as them being racist. And I'm not saying that that's not the case. I'm sure it is in many occasions. But why is it that people are so emboldened to be critical of one side of the debate, whereas you can't say anything about black folks? I mean, we live in a day right now where there is black privilege, there is LGBT privilege. It is real. And if you say something against any of these people, you will be canceled, or they'll do the best they can to cancel you. It's nuts. It's totally nuts. You can say that Asians are racist, but you can't say that blacks can't be. And I know the definition, they've redefined it. But man, we've totally lost our way. And Benjamin posted in the comments a link down below, so if you guys want to check that out, about what happened in Louisville, Kentucky. Let me know if the audio is good, y'all. I hope I'm not coming across too loud or anything like that. But yeah, pretty nuts. Let's jump into the next video, because I want to get into a little more detail about who this suspect is and what his worldview was or is. Let's get into a little more detail of that, because I think that this is a point that will be largely overlooked, but I think we'll be doing ourselves a disservice if we don't jump in and learn a bit more. Now, I'm sharing a clip from Louder with Crowder. They could be a little raunchy, so I'm just going to show a little bit of it. They're kind of entertaining, but they can get a bit carried away at times. But I think that you guys will really appreciate the details that they bring up. So I got it moved up to a certain point where we're going to highlight this guy's YouTube channel and some of his videos and some of his rhetoric. So let's go right here. I think it's shared. Yep, it's on the screen. Let's go.
Is still being reported as unknown.
I wonder if we can guess.
Convenient.
Yeah,
There are a couple
weird.
of options, I think.
Are there?
We'll see.
I don't know. Social media believed it was linked to some stuff. Like he had a particular worldview.
Oh.
Oh, well.
What is
So.
was a Trump supporter? Oh.
No.
Okay, just take a peek. This is off of his social. I'm not sure if this is just one social media page or Facebook or Instagram or what, but these are some images that you see around all the time. But let me see if I can zoom in. Hopefully y'all can see that. I'm sorry, I'll make that bigger. There we go. All right, let's read some of this. Please tell me how you feel. Oh, I can't make that one out. The one where the guy's got the American flag noose, that's really popular. I'm a firm believer in you and don't know what you can or can't do until you try. Well, that's some post he wrote. And then this one right here is a post from the Black Liberation Army. And he has a bunch of people here, and I'm assuming those are some activists. I'm not familiar. I think I see. Yeah, I can't make out the names, but I think I'm going to go back and check out some of that information. There's nothing in the world more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. Dr. Martin Luther King. They're showing a picture of Donald Trump, so clearly he wasn't a fan. Now what, N-word, and there's one with the little kid holding a gun. So that gives you a little taste of what this man was thinking. All right, let's move on. Let's move along.
I don't think that's support words.
Is that Jussie?
That's
That one in the middle there.
Fan of the Hodge twins?
yeah.
Nice art.
He loves bleach, apparently.
I guess that's 4 people that wore a neck. Never mind. And his last YouTube video uploaded on April 11th, 2022 makes his position explicit.
These white motherfuckers, this is what they do. Ultimately, at the end of the day, they kill and commit genocide against each other. What do you think they can? What do you think they're going to do to your black ass?
That I don't think you need much more. If you're looking to develop probable cause and you're going to need more to develop PC as far as pressing charges on him. But as far as determining what his mindset was, I think that this right here is creating a serious case of someone with a anti-white and a total black nationalist mindset.
That's your friend? You got a white friend, really? They're going to kill you, They're going to kill you.
Because just look at it like this. And if you question that, what I just said, just look at it like this. Imagine if this was a white dude talking about black folks and saying this is what they do. Man, everybody, the world would be up in arms. We know this. But somehow it's okay if it comes from the mouth of a black man. It's ridiculous.
No, they're going to torture you first. They're going to f*** you up first, real good.
What kind of white friends
They
do you
doing
have?
this right now in Ukraine, torturing and binding and killing and stabbing and raping women and cutting their throat. What do you think they're going to do to you if they can get a hold of you? They need to be a lot more motherfuckers hit with straight bullets. A lot more motherfuckers need to die by straight bullet. That. The bullshit. It's gonna
You have this video just the day prior to you going into a subway station and gunning people down. Just a day prior. If there's any justice in this country, that dude should be going down. Period.
transform into something else. It has to. It cannot stay the same.
He needs to work on his setup.
Yeah.
We better light
It's going
him.
to be something that's going to change.
My
the
grandma
way
said
that's
the
gonna
same
be
on her
against
deathbed.
us as so-called black people. There's going to be reversal of all your fortunes. No. You're not a man and a brother. You're a slave and a nigger.
Wow.
Wow.
The more you know.
Yep. Yep. That's it, y'all. What do you think? Let me check out some of the comments here. He too old to be thinking like that. You would hope so, but man, this worldview, and I think a lot of this is a very. That's why there's so much anti-capitalism that's really popular. This mindset goes back to, and I'm sure it dates back even further than this, but I know in the 50s and 60s, this radical communistic, socialistic worldview that was indoctrinated into the black community. There's a book, Manning Johnson is the author. I can't recall the name of the book. But he was a former communist and a former black communist, and his eyes were opened when he started seeing the truth of how they use black folks. And this whole this radical movement has been around for so long. And a guy in his 60s can easily have that perspective. I would say that I had a snippet of that mindset as a younger man up until really the Lord really started working on my heart. And I started being challenged by sound brothers and sisters in the Lord about being consistent biblically. And that's really what woke me up. Because I've said this before, and I will continue to say this: the mindset the assumption that most white people are prejudiced, or maybe not most, or a high percentage of white folks are racist, is prevalent throughout the black community, and that you have to always do more in order to get ahead. Now, there was a day where I think that was totally accurate, no question about it. When I was growing up in the 70s and just having someone, whoops, almost knocked my stand down. When I was growing up in the 70s and just had someone calling me the N-word just because they could. I mean, I'm talking about me being a little kid walking up and down the street. Or even older, in the 90s, having my car spray painted with the N-word up down the side. I know racism is real. And there was a time in our society where it was way more prevalent. People could be bold and open with it. Now, is it more superficial and under the surface? No question about it. But I do not think it has the power over us as when I look at it from the perspective of being a black man. I don't think it has the power over us that it once had. I think we have come a long way as a society, a long way as a nation. And although you will never get rid of racism, I can't help but believe that what I always try to ask people is, tell me one career field, one line of work that a white man can get or can have that I can't. And I've asked some people who have some pretty strong views as far as pretty strong anti-white views or social justice perspectives, or people who are proponents of critical race theory. And I've had few tell me that there aren't any, that there's a job that they can't get into. Very few, because I think they have to be honest with themselves. You can't change a man or a person's heart if they have hate in it. Primarily, and yeah, people can change over the years apart from God, but it will always be flawed. But primarily, unless you have the Lord working in your heart, in most situations or in many situations, people will continue to have, or they have different experiences where they come in contact with a different group of people who show them that you shouldn't assume that the stereotypes fit everybody. Most people will continue to have those views. Now, they may be forced to suppress those because they become less and less popular. All you have to do is look at the current society in the area of the gay marriage issue. Now, you know that I would argue that the majority of people who fought against gay marriage still think it's wrong for various reasons. My perspective is a biblical one, first and foremost. But most of them have been silenced because it's not popular and you can risk losing everything. but their worldview hasn't changed. They just don't talk about it. So I'm sure that there are people out there who still are bigoted, racist towards black, white, brown, Asian folks, Indian folks, whether they're native or from India. There's still people out there who have a dislike. Some even have a disdain for other ethnic groups. But thankfully, we're in a society, the world we're living in now, is that it will have minimal impact on your life and mine. Those are my thoughts. Only salvation can end racism, and as it is sin that stems from unbelief. Excellent point. The Holy Spirit frees us from all of our worldly views. Yes. Some people still try to hold on to them, though. I'm hoping I'm getting a good connection still, y'all, because it looks like I'm getting a low bar here. We've been having some internet problems. We've been having windstorms come through. It's been causing all kinds of problems. So hopefully my connection is still good. Good. Dwayne's got to go. I find it insidious that the purposeful hiding of these types of crimes perpetuated by certain groups of people, by a certain group of people, like the increase in Asian hate crimes, as if said group is either too ignorant to understand or they need to be protected from the truth because they cannot handle it. But it seems that the rise in rhetoric has begun to grow a fervor in those that have fallen from the quote-unquote oppression mindset and seek to get their reparations. White liberals are some of the most evil and racist. Let me see if there's more there. Can't see if I can get any more. But yeah, I agree, bro. Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, we're dealing with some foolishness right now. And it's by the grace of God, people will start to wake up and see what's going on. But I'm really not going to hold my breath on that. But let's bring it back to our final point here. I want to, okay, so what can we learn about this? I want to see in the comments, what would you do? Let's say you are within 5 feet of this man, and you see him pull out the fireworks, smoke bombs, and then pull out a gun. What would you do? Post them in the comments. And I say it's challenging. I said it was challenging early on because you are in a metal box traveling at, I don't know, but 60 miles an hour. I don't know how fast they travel. Where you have limited space, packed, crowded, because you're talking about 8 million people in New York. So everything is crowded. And you see an individual pull out a smoke bomb, light it, and then pull out a gun. In a city that makes it extremely difficult for you to own a weapon. That's a tough one. Pull my gun. Right. Now, I know it's difficult to be a gun owner in New York, but it's not impossible. You probably have to pay a lot of fees, spend a lot of money, attend a lot of classes, but it is difficult. So my first point, let's go with this one, talking about pulling out your gun, pulling out your weapon. I think that is one of the top things that you can do to, obviously, and it's an obvious point, but to be able to defend yourself and potentially the lives of others. However, the challenging part is, again, the scenario I gave is you were within 5 feet. You know what's going on. You see this guy pulling out this stuff. Someone has to be willing to engage. 5 feet is close. You may be able to get your hands on him if you feel proficient in that area. Or if you can pull out your weapon, if you have one, and you are a precise shooter. Because you have to take in a lot of factors here. You have to take in the jostling of the subway train, if it was moving, which I believe it was, the jostling of the subway train. You have to take in the mayhem that was going on, people screaming and freaking out. You have to take in your own personal stress levels, your own ability to take and make a high pressure shot, and possibly the movement of the individual. Are you, and I'm saying this to anyone out there who's a gun owner, are you proficient enough to be able to make accurate, consistent shots? Not to mention the backdrop. I'm not sure if he had other people around him, behind him. I'm not sure where he was. And I'm going to hopefully do some more research to find a few more of those details. But you also have to be able to place precise shots without risking hitting other people behind him. So that's a lot to ask. But it's not impossible to achieve it. The average civilian can achieve that with consistent practicing under pressure, practicing under stress, doing some force-on-force drills, training perhaps when you go to the gun range or go out to the desert or wherever you go to shoot, maybe bring a kettlebell, do some push-ups prior, do some sprints prior to shooting, and then see how accurate you are in getting shots off. And if you're not good at it, practice until you get better. Get your breathing under control and be able to make a shot. But in the scenario I posted that I mentioned, you're within 5 feet. It's pretty much just a point and shoot. You don't necessarily have to get a sight alignment, sight picture, all that kind of stuff. But if you're further back and you see what's going on, do you have those skills? Are you confident enough in your ability to be able to be consistent and make those shots? That's a question you're going to have to ask yourself. That's a question you're going to have to ask yourself. So a lot of factors are involved in that. Practice, your physical fitness, if you're able to control yourself, control your stress levels. A lot of things to think about, y'all. Let me see here. Yeah, a lot of red tape to get a concealed carry permit in New York and California. New York, California, I think New Jersey. I think pretty much up and down that northeast area. Chicago, another place that has a lot that makes it very difficult for you as a gun owner. Precision is the key, 100%. 100%. You have to be skilled. And in the world that we're living in now, I think it would I don't know if behoove is a proper term, but it would benefit everyone. It would benefit everyone if they were able to make those, if they began to train and build up those skills to make sure that you can take an accurate, precise shot in an environment like that. And as a cop, and I was a firearms instructor as well, I could tell you that most officers don't like practicing. I'll tell you that right now. They don't like to train. They don't like to practice. They love hanging out. They love planning their vacations and all that other nonsense. But when it comes down to taking care of their bodies and their mind and improving their tactics, the vast majority of officers ain't got time for that. So if those guys, people who are first responders, have that mindset, I'm sure most civilians probably have it even less as far as the desire to improve. But you never know what situation you'll be facing from one day to the next. So you had better work on your skills and better be prepared. Because as the old saying goes, I would much rather have a gun or the skill or whatever it is, or the fitness, and not need it, than need it and not have it. So keep that in your mind. Good to have you back, bro. Yeah, I'm talking about tactics here, so I'm pretty sure that's an area that you could definitely get in, would definitely appreciate and definitely get into. So having a weapon and being proficient, point number one. Now, what happens if you're further back and you're away from him? You're away from the offender, the shooter, active shooter, and you don't. There's too much smoke. What do? I would say that you have to. I'm not sure. I remember back in the day they used to have those things you could pull down, and at least that's how they had them in the movies. And the subway would come to a screeching halt. I'm pretty sure they got rid of that because I'm sure all kinds of nonsense was going on and people were pulling them. But try to help. Try to get the attention of someone in the engineer, maybe call 911. Cover your mouth. Make sure you're thinking about your own well-being, because Lord knows what gas or what he put in the air. It could have been something toxic. And I was also thinking about breaking the glass, but I'm assuming that it would have to be pretty hard on the subway train. I'm not too sure. If anyone is familiar, comment down below. But I would think that it would be pretty tough to break that glass, especially if the vehicle's moving. Do you want to risk jumping out? So that may not be the best option. But if you can break the glass somehow, maybe have one of those automatic glass breakers. I used to have one when I was on patrol in case I needed to access a vehicle. Maybe smash the glass to allow some of the smoke. And these are just some things that you can carry on a keychain. Some little things that you can carry on a keychain to help you in your situation. A knife, if you're in close proximity. Let's just say it's too difficult for you to get a gun, too expensive. Have something on you that you can use as some type of striking weapon or in a stabbing motion. If you can't carry a concealed knife, but a pocket knife, I'm sure is something that you could use. You could use that against the individual. But if you can break the glass, another aspect or another point I think would be good to make would be, oh, hold on one second. Good comment there, Steph. Stay ready so that you don't have to get ready. Exactly. I say this all the time, but I'm 52 years old, y'all. If you're not familiar with me on Facebook, go check out Eric Muldrow on Facebook. And you see, lately I've been posting more and more videos of me working out. I've just been trying to be an encouragement. I'm 52 years old, did time in the Army, worked in the prison, the county jail, patrolled the streets, been active in martial arts since I was 16, 17 years old. But I'm 52 and my fitness is pretty close to the best it's ever been, or I'm definitely moving in that direction. I'll say that much. I'm definitely moving in that direction. At 52 years old, retired from law enforcement since 2014. And my weight is back down to where it was when I was 24, 25 years old. So at 52. And why is that? Because I see the way this world is moving. I see where it's going. And I don't want to be caught slipping. A few years ago, we had that October 1 incident here in Vegas. I'm not the biggest country music fan. I enjoy there are a few artists out there I do appreciate, but I'm not the biggest country music fan, so I probably wouldn't have been there. But you could be at a mall and some idiot could be trying to shoot a place up. You could be at Walmart, you could be wherever, and somebody wants to do something dumb. And I know people have different reasons, different limitations, things that slow them down, to keep them from achieving the fitness that most people would like to achieve. But I would argue that the vast majority of us are just not motivated. We're just lazy to get to where we truly should be. Because I always try to point out the reality that, man, I can recall, and I've mentioned this before, and I should really try to get some of these, at least one of these individuals on the show. There was a family. My daughter was house sitting for them with their dogs while they attended the I forget what it was, that whole October 1st Country Music Festival, and they were avid CrossFitters. The husband, the wife, I think a couple of friends were there. One of them even made it to the Granite Games, which is a pretty impressive feat because some of the professional CrossFit athletes, some of the elite CrossFitters make it there. And we had one girl at the gym that we used to go to, who made it to the Granite Games and did fairly decently from what I recall. But one thing that I remember my daughter saying that she told her was the fact that people are trying to run and climb over this fence or wall, and she's little. She might be 5'3", maybe weigh 130 pounds at best. And she was outrunning people, helping people over the wall because she was strong for her size. But her fitness got her there, was able to make a difference. and was able to potentially save some lives. So my point is this, that if you have trouble being motivated, maybe the issue is just a lot of hard work. Yeah, and it is. No question about it. Or if you have difficulty being motivated because it hurts, yeah, sometimes it does. Or you have trouble being motivated because you don't have anyone around you to inspire you, to motivate you. Follow me if you're not already doing so. And find a group. Find some people around you. I'm sure there are some people that you can find almost wherever, whether it's at a gym or whether it's you start off going for a walk. You start off doing some calisthenics in your garage or in your backyard, in your living room. You can start doing something. And then as time goes on, you build a base. It's not an overnight process, but you will be building a base that could be life-saving. Not only is it a blessing, not only are you honoring God's temple, first and foremost, but you are also impacting your potential long-term health. And then we can get into the issue of diet and all this kind of stuff. I'm very much big into ketogenic diet. Check out Dr. Berg, B-E-R-G, on YouTube. Love the dude. The guy's information that he shared has totally been life-changing for me and my family. We've all lost a tremendous amount of weight. I think if you combine all of our weight loss, you're probably looking at 150 pounds easily. Me, I went from, at my worst, I think I was like 280. I kind of fluctuate from 270, but I think it was like 283. And right now I'm probably weighing, I worked out earlier, 230. And so little things you can do to improve your health and fitness, because what I'm telling you, when that time comes and the crap hits the fan, as the comment said right here, Steph D said, stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That is my mindset. Not only do I want to be healthy and fit, no question about it. You know, we're talking about adopting, and I want to be able to have some little ones running around here. I want to be able to keep up with them. So if, or like I said, worst case scenario, I have to run for my life. I just did 3.5 miles today. I usually run 2 to 3 times a week. And running sucks. I don't enjoy the process. But I know the benefits that I get from running. I know how good it makes me feel when I'm done. Cardiovascularly, mental sharpness, and I'm getting faster, slowly but surely, being able to run a little bit faster. And I have some goals. This coming weekend, I'm doing a Spartan Deca Mile. And I did a practice one at the gym. We have a really cool gym with a nice turf and sleds. Did a little practice Spartan Deca Mile last Monday. Kicked my behind. You do 10 different events or workouts or obstacles, sled push and pull, lunges, weighted burpees, concept 2 rower, a bunch of different things like that. 10 of them, 160 meters in between each. I know it's going to kick my behind, but I also know that the little preparation I did just prior to doing that is going to be backed up over here, so that if I ever need it, I got it. If I ever need to run a mile, 2 miles, 3, I got it. And I'm hoping to build more from there and run even further, because this country is going nuts if y'all haven't been paying attention. Vegan for life. Have at it, enjoy it. Personally, that ain't my thing, but hey, do what's good for you. And okay, so we talked about being in possession of a weapon, trying to, if you can, having some type of other weapon. If you can break the glass, communicate, reach out to someone. Hopefully someone could be there to intervene. If you call 911, sometimes all you have to do is call 911 and let them know where your location is. But if you're in the subway, it may be tough to get a signal. Break the glass, see if you can get some of the smoke out. If you hear gunfire, in most situations, you're going to seek cover. Cover, concealment. Now, cover is when you're behind some type of object that can protect you from the bullets, keep those rounds from hitting you. Now you're in a subway train, a packed subway train, you just may need to get down, get low, because you really don't have true cover. I mean, there's going to be other people on there. I mean, I don't know. It's terrible, the idea of using other people for cover, but try to get as low as possible. Try to get away from that individual if you can. And hopefully you have something that you can protect yourself with. The other thing the final point I want to make, and I'm sure there are many, and if you guys have any, make sure you post them in the comments. And these are everything I'm talking about is something that can easily be carried on your person. I'm not talking about having a backpack with all your equipment like you're a freaking SF guy or something like that. But you can have certain things in your pockets just for you, maybe you and a loved one. So having a tourniquet, a small first aid kit in your pocket, in your purse, ladies, or guys, if you had a smaller backpack or man bag, as I like to call it, I should have brought mine in here. Hold on one second. Now this is something I may carry to the gym with me right here, but it's a small bag, and sometimes I'll just toss some equipment in there when I'm going different places. And I have a couple of bags that are smaller than this. I'll probably have them on next time. On the next show. You can find them on Amazon for pretty cheap. I'll have my one bag that I carry with me pretty routinely. Throw it over my shoulder. Sometimes I'll have my gun in there if I'm wearing sweatpants or shorts. I'll have an extra magazine. I'll have, and I'm guilty. I'm guilty for not carrying a tourniquet or first aid kit on a regular basis. But after seeing what I saw, I'm going to make sure that I have at least one in there for me. At least one. That's it, bro. Go bag. That's it. We need to have one. You just need to have one. Fanny pack is a flex and a good. I have AK. I'm drawing a blank on that. Hope you ain't over there cussing. I know you're not, bro. But yeah, I carry a fanny pack today. I went running. Had my fanny pack on, snug tight on my waist. Had my gun in there. My phone, my keys. I just did what I had to do because we have coyotes around here where I live. I was running not yesterday, the day before, and man, there were like a pack of coyotes together, and they weren't little. So I just changed where I was going. I was kind of heading out. We have some golf courses out here, so I was heading out this one area. And then I saw those coyotes, and I said, you know what? I'm not taking the risk of coming across some rabid coyote, and next year I'm in a fight for my life or a rabbit pack. So I just turned around. But I had my gun on me, and I think it carries about. The magazine I have in carries around 10 rounds. And then if I'm carrying an additional mag, that's another 15 rounds. But I carry it just in case. I've never had to use it in all the years I've been carrying. But I'm not willing to take that risk of needing it, as I say, as was mentioned earlier, and not having it. But going back to the first aid incident, or first aid mindset, you can have a car accident, you could fall, you can injure yourself, or you could be in an active shooting like these folks saw themselves in yesterday, and you can need that. So my suggestions are have a weapon that's readily available, seek to communicate, call for help, if at all possible, try to find somewhere to hide if you're in a situation where you can do that. If you can break glass or whatever to get some of the gas or some of the whatever is in the air, somebody could use a CS gas or something like that, or pepper spray or something along those lines. And be prepared physically, as always. Tactically, we can go all day. I can talk all day about that topic. And lastly, have some first aid. Have a first aid kit, tourniquet, pressure dressings, something small that you can carry with you, just in case. For you, if you have your kids or your spouse with you, for them. I know some people who carry in their vehicles, they got all kinds of crap. I got a buddy of mine who I went to the police academy with. He was a PJ, pararescue jumper, Air Force pararescue jumper. Dude's a stud. And he always carried a full first aid kit in his vehicle, all times. And he just said, just in case something happens, I can help people. That was just his mindset. It was ingrained in him during his time in the Air Force and some of the other special assignments that he had. And he always had the mindset that I want to be ready. And we can do that too on a lower level. We can have some simple tools that can help us to just be prepared for when the crap hits the fan, as I like to say. Improved or improvised first aid kit? Is that what you're saying? Or improved? But yes, very good. Sorry. I know you don't be talking like that. Individual first aid kit is a compact but vital collection of life-saving items you as an operator carry with you at all times. That's it. That's it. But hey, y'all, I thought somebody was trying to get in here. I was like, I didn't send any invites. But man, I appreciate y'all stopping by. I really wanted to make some content. I wanted to do this yesterday while everything was hot and ready, was running, while everything was fresh. But I was telling y'all about the wind. The internet was acting stupid yesterday. So, and plus just, I think they're making some transitions here in Vegas. So I've been dealing with some issues in my area. Anyway, for the last couple of weeks. Dwayne, do me a favor, y'all, before you bounce out of here. My brother Dwayne Handy, he's in the chat right now. He and I, if you're not following me or Dwayne on Facebook, please do, because we are putting out a show that deals with pop culture. In particular, we're a couple of geeks. We like sci-fi, we like action, we like fantasy movies and stuff like Lord of the Rings type thing, fiction movies, comics. And we're putting out a show that helps you and I, helps anyone, Christian primarily, but anyone interested, anyone who has a more of a conservative perspective, anybody who hates what's going on in our society with Disney just going off the deep end and all the foolishness that's out there. We talk about these issues from a biblical perspective to help you, the reader or the viewer, navigate these worlds. We wrestle with these things each week. And we've had 2 episodes out, and I plan on posting another one, most likely tomorrow, but don't hold me to that, because I've been an editing fool. I have all kinds of content I'm putting out that I need to put out. But I definitely plan on posting another video this week, and we'll be getting together, Dwayne and I and Andre Perkins. Dre, he goes by. He's not on Facebook, but he'll make their occasional appearance. We love talking about these things. So just follow Dwayne, follow me, and you guys will, I think you guys will appreciate the content that we're putting out, because we try to dive deep. We have long form discussions. It's a lot of fun. And I think Dwayne said, looking forward to our next recording. We plan on getting together tomorrow, God willing, just to chop it up. We haven't figured out a topic yet, man, unless I've been missing out, because I'm always behind on the Facebook Messenger chat. By the way, digging the Booker T. Washington poster in the back. I appreciate it, bro. I got a couple I don't know if you can see it. I got Booker T. Washington. You got Bass Reeves, the old school U.S. Marshal back in the day, one of my heroes. And I got probably my biggest hero right there, Frederick Douglass. Got them on the back. So yeah, this is my office / bedroom for the boys when my sons are in town. And it won't be set perfect until I get a old school autographed picture of Mr. T. Yeah, don't laugh, but that was my hero when I was a young man. He was a godly man. He was a bodyguard. He was cool, he was tough, he was confident in who he was. Back in the day, with the nonsense I went through, that was my boy. I wanted to be Mr. T. Especially when he got in, I was already a fan, but when he got into wrestling, I hated wrestling. But then when Mr. T teamed up with Hulk Hogan, I've been a wrestling fan ever since. I know. Totally off topic. Call me weird, but it's who I am. Anyway. Right. He wrestled. He was a former soldier, martial, like a black belt in karate. Man, I wanted to be that dude growing up. I kind of ended up going that route. We kind of went similar routes. Haven't done the bodyguard thing, but I'm actually looking to take an executive security class. Within the next few months. Not because I want to be a bodyguard, just because I want to. Okay. Y'all hear me? Y'all hear me? Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. I appreciate y'all being here. Once again, thank you. I wanted to be up there over a few days. Each on some pieces made by but to share this piece of me looking a little heavy in the face because they're from a couple of months, or couple of months. They're from like a year and a half, 2 years ago. And that's it. Everybody's telling me the internet's cutting up, so I'm going to bounce on out of here, y'all. Much love. I appreciate y'all being here. In the meantime, as always, stay safe. God bless. And hold up. Get everything ready. Make sure you join the conversation.